Hi swimmers, it's Celeste from Triathlon Skills Simple Swims, and I'm here to take you through some strength training exercises for your swimming. So it's really important if you're going to be swimming is that you also do some dry land work to keep those shoulders nice and strong and healthy. We're going to start off with some myofascial release, so some foam rolling to really keep those shoulders nice and limber so those joints are doing well for you in the pool. We'll also do some, if you have some stretch cords, we'll do a little bit of warming up with the stretch cords, and then some activation exercises, and then we'll actually get into the lifting. It's meant to be a short session, so you don't need a whole lot of time. So if you have a range of dumbbells, that will come in really handy. So it's really important to have that shoulder strength because swimming is a repetitive sport, so it's an endurance sport. It's great, for our mind, for our body, but it can also be catabolic, which means that it can be breaking down the muscle. So we want to make sure that we're doing dry land work to maintain that muscle strength, to maintain that muscle health, maintain that shoulder strength and shoulder health. So really key there. Second thing is, so swimming is a catabolic sport, but we're not going to stop doing it. We just want to make sure that we mitigate any of the problems that might come along, like underfueling. So if you're looking to have great swim experiences, one is having good shoulder health for your swimming, but you want to have good experience because you're also fueling your swimming. So you don't want to be not fueling. So for those of you that are getting up early in the morning and need to get to the pool to get your swim in, because that's the only window of time, is that really make sure that you have some fuel on board. So if you don't have enough fuel on board during your activity, your body's just going to be breaking down muscle tissue. So if you're looking to build shoulder strength and yet you're not fueling your swim, you're just kind of hitting yourself, banging your head against the wall. It's just not going to work. So in order to develop that muscle on land, you're also going to have to pay attention to what's happening when you're in the pool and you're doing your favorite sport of swimming. So make sure that you're fueling your swim. Okay, so if you're a morning swimmer, you get up, maybe have a little bit of food before you get to the pool. You could be sipping some calories in the form of a water bottle while you're on the pool deck, and then afterwards maybe have that breakfast. So you want to keep your energy level sustained during your swimming. The same is going to be true if you're just adding in strength training. You don't want to add in strength training and not address your nutrition. So if you're looking to build muscle, you're going to want to add more fuel to, before the lifting session, maybe during the lifting session, and then afterwards. So somewhere in there, you're going to need to increase your calorie intake so that you're actually telling your body, we have plenty of nutrition, let's build some muscle so we can have stronger and better swims. All right, enough said for now. Let's grab that foam roller, the stretch cord, your range of dumbbells, your yoga mat, and let's head into the weight room and do some strength training. First off is just addressing posture. So you want to stand nice and tall. You want to draw the shoulder blades in and down. You want to have the ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle in a straight line, not wanting to slouch. Again, grip. You don't want to stick the buttocks out. You want to squeeze the tush. You want to draw the belly button in. You want to bring the shoulder blades in towards the spine and then down the back, keeping the chest lifted and pressing down into the floor. As the feet press down into the floor, have a sense of lifting up through the crown of the head. Now, grabbing the foam roller, have a seat. You're going to do the buttock set first, just that one side. You're going to spend maybe 30 seconds on each side, so taking your time, rolling up and down, and take some nice deep breaths. Switch to the other side. I may not be going for actual 30 seconds here, but you can watch the clock. Just have a sense of being even on both sides. So as you're rolling, starting with the glutes, and then you're going to change it up, going a little bit deeper across that leg. Really rotate, externally rotate from the hip socket as you cross. So you can do both sides with that. I did not do that here as an example, but you want to make sure you hit both sides. And then taking the roller to the lower back, you're just going to do that muscle along the spine on the right side in this case, going up and down with the muscle fibers. Okay, and you can just do a little clamshell here, drop that knee open and close, Okay, adding a little more pressure, drawing that knee in and out. Okay, so you're not going to be on the spine itself. You want to be along that muscle. You want to work both sides somewhat evenly. You may have kind of a chocolate vanilla side. You may have one side that might feel a little tighter than the other, but that's okay. You know, just spend equal amounts of time on each side, maybe going through the same motions. You just want to get in there and increase the blood flow with this myofascial release. You're working that fascia, you're working the muscle, getting yourself ready for your activity. Now, supporting the head, lift the hips, and you're going to roll along the muscles of the spine. And you're also going to be hitting some of the, the lats here, some of the muscles of the back, rolling to the shoulders and back. So you're stretching through the chest and you're rolling the muscles of the back. You can hold on to the shoulders, go a little deeper, going armpit to armpit, taking some nice deep breaths in and then out. Change it up. Pick one side. You're going to do the lats. Extend that bottom arm with the palm up, and you can kind of play around with it, kind of what I call the water angel, sweeping the arm, lift in lower. So you're going to feel that along the lats. You can spend as much time as you'd like here. I'm just keeping it short for demonstration, and then you can move to the other side, do the same thing. One side might feel a little tighter than the other. You're going to perhaps find some tenderness in there, and the idea is to loosen it up. Make sure that you're breathing. Now we're going to move on to opening up the chest, stretching the front of the body, and working on opening up the thoracic spine. So you can, this might be really intense, so I'm dropping the top of my head to the floor, really getting the ribs to lift off the roller and spread. Not literally, but I have that feeling of lifting up and keeping the hips on the floor. So this might be a little too intense to actually try to get your head down. That's going to be up to you, but you want to have that arching over feeling. And then you can come up. If that just feels like too much, you can always change it up by adding a blanket. I call this the little burrito. You kind of fold it up. It's not very long. I'm going to tuck it in that rounded edge into the lower back. And then the same idea of arching over and spreading the arms, getting that chest to lift, getting that thoracic spine, okay, that upper back to move in. We're always so rounded forward. Might be too intense with the legs straight, so you can always bend the knees in and have a sense of really reaching through the arms. You can take them overhead, work on getting the arms to the floor. I call this the goalpost. You're just going to 90-degree those arms. And again, this is about spreading and opening the chest, moving that upper back in to get that feeling of lifting and lengthening that's so important when you're swimming. And most of our lives these days are about arching and rounding forward. So you really want to be having this sense of expanding and getting the intelligence of how to move that spine in and now up. Doing this in stages, taking the blanket out, or if you are using the roller. So now having the intelligence to be able to lift and spread the ribs without the roller, without my little blanket burrito, and taking the arms back onto the floor, going into that T and really stretching out, really opening up the chest. Practice sweeping the arms open up over the head so you can kind of play around with these different positions. The legs are active. I'm pressing down through the back of the knees. I'm reaching out through the heels. Can do this little back and forth. Again, just kind of opening and loosening. And there's going to be some sense of doing some activation at the same time. Now, you could be doing this before your lifting session. You can also put this in before a swim session to just really kind of get the body ready for the activity. Now, sitting down, pressing the legs into the floor, moving that lower back in and up, and taking the arms up and back just as we were just doing on the floor. So now the legs are extended out. You're drawing the belly button in, taking the arms up and back, and getting that thoracic spine to move in. So in this case, we're getting ready for the lift. So you want to have that back activated, those muscles of the spine moving in, so you don't have that rounded head forward, shoulders kind of rounding in. So you're nice and tall, chest lifting up. You've got control of the back and the abdomen and a little bit of squeezing in the tush to help you sit up nice and tall. So the fun begins here on your stomach. Bring the legs together, squeeze the buttocks, and without lifting the head, okay, the head and chest are just a little lifted off the floor. You're going to work on lifting the arms, keep the palms face forward, and draw the shoulder blades in and down as you come forward, not to shrug the shoulders, just from the Y back to the scorpion. So try to keep the chest lifted without throwing the head back. Control the move, nice and slow and gentle, keeping those palms face forward. Okay, you're really activating the back and the glutes, and then change it to the T. So keeping the chest lifted, you're just going to lower and lift the arms. Again, drawing the shoulder blades in and down. Okay, so you're strengthening that back, moving that thoracic spine in. Perfect. So you're perfectly set up for this one. Now you're glute bridging. You're going to drive the elbows into the floor. You're getting the same action of pressing the shoulder blades in and down. So as you squeeze the buttocks and lift and lower, keep the knees together, keep the feet together, keep the knuckles of the big toes pressing into the floor. Okay, draw the belly button in. Now as you lift up, try to press the buttocks towards the back of the legs. You're going to keep those glutes engaged. You're going to keep that upper back working, keeping the spine nice and strong and straight. Well warmed up and activated for the lifting. So take this stretch cord, get into your athletic stance where you're drawing the belly button in. Okay, try not to round the shoulders or press the head forward. You want to work to keep the chest lifted, the hips right underneath as you take the arms up and back. Okay, so some of you may be able to get your arms closer than I am doing here, and some of you may need to have your arms much further apart with the stretch cord, and resist those hips pushing forward. Okay, also resist the shoulders lifting up as you're going back and forth. You can stop here in the back and really strengthen the upper back muscles as you're stretching through the chest. Make sure that you're breathing. You're going to resist those hips going forward. And you can draw across the front of the chest as well, so that you're strengthening the front of the chest. Just a few times to warm up the shoulders and be really well ready and aligned and activated to get into that first lift. So lying prone on the floor, you're going to keep your nose from smushing into the mat. Squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the legs. The elbows are not going to bend here. Palms are facing up. You're working that rear deltoid. The arms might flare out a little bit, and that's okay. You're just going to lift the weights higher than the hips, a little tap down on the floor, and then lifting up. Get that pause on the top, nice and in control, and lower down slow. The second one is a real favorite, but it can go awry very quickly. Get into that athletic stance. Don't let the hips go forward. Okay, don't throw the head forward. You want to stay nice and tall. Now I'm adding some rotation here. You can do palms face forward. Work to take the arms up and back. You can also change the position to palms facing in. Really make sure that you're getting those elbows straight, not shrugging the shoulders up, keeping those shoulder blades in towards the spine and down. If you're having a hard time controlling that weight, sitting down is a good option. And you want to make sure that you're not rounding and trying to force that weight up. This might be just too heavy, but you want to get into that good posture as we were doing early during the warm-up. Getting that press, taking the time to make sure that the elbows are straight. You can change the hand position to from facing in to facing forward. You can add some rotation with the palms facing backwards and then rotating as you're going up. So the key here is to really make sure that you have that good posture, you're going the full range of motion, and that you really control and own those weights as you're lifting. One of my favorites for swimming is this lateral raise. That really helps with the recovery of the stroke in freestyle. So again, sitting down can be a much better place to start. You can still go wrong though and not have good posture. You can try to really throw those weights by dipping the head forward. So be careful of what you're doing. Get that sense of tall posture. Be sure that you have the proper weight for what you're doing for that lift. You're going to keep those shoulders in and down, taking those weights up to the sides. Palms can be facing down. You can change the position of the weights to also doing palms facing forward. So have a sense that the shoulders go down and the spine is lifting up nice and tall up through the crown of the head. All right, another favorite is the front raise, working the front of the deltoid of that shoulder muscle, sitting up nice and tall, keeping the chest lifted. This is another one. You can go a little south with the posture and start dipping. You can change the position of the weights from palm facing down to palms facing in. Make sure that as you lift and then lower that you don't drop the chest on the lower. Just really keep nice control. The only joint that's moving is the shoulder. So once again, you don't want that rounded back or that head throwing forward. With your poor posture, you want to make sure that you're owning it. If you want to change it up, you can do a little bit of the palms facing backwards. So you can play around with this one some. Just make sure that you keep that good posture and control. Okay, so I've taken you through the strength exercises for the shoulders. Now, after you're done, it would be really ideal if you took maybe 2 or 3 minutes to do some rolling on the shoulders afterwards. So a few stretches and then some rolling, and then you're done. So I'm going to take you through some of that. So for stretching, just stand nice and tall. Clasp the fingers together with the fingers down, the knuckles down, and just a gentle lift. Okay, keep your nice athletic posture at the same time as you lift the arms, and then turn it over and then press down. Keep the chest lifted, and think about pushing the elbows towards each other as you're here. Take a few deep breaths. We're just going to do a little bit of loosening. Take the arm across. As you take the arm across, don't let it hike up. Let it sort of sink down and have a sense of reaching over at the same time. Just a few breaths here. Switch to the other side. Breathing. Okay, and then lastly, just this idea of reaching down the back. So take the hand down the back. A little assist here. Don't push. Try not to let your head go forward. Think about the elbow going back and down at the same time. Get that stretch through the tricep a little bit into the lat. So we're going to do both sides. Keep ourselves nice and even. Okay, again, down and pull that elbow back. Try not to let your head go forward. You're going to keep working that thoracic spine and getting that lift in there. Okay, release gently. All right, I've got 2 other tools besides the roller. So if you have the roller, you can just use the roller, but I also have a nice big ball. It's probably bigger than a softball if you have access to a softball, and a tennis ball. So either one of them could be really handy. And again, the roller can come in really handy too. So I'm going to take you through how to roll those shoulders, something kind of quick, maybe about a minute on each side. So each shoulder about a minute. You can always go a little bit longer, but that's just enough. Okay, so down to the floor. Start with the tennis ball and just put it on the front deltoid, okay? And bring it right down here, allowing the body weight to get in there. I can move it around till I find something that might feel a little tender, a little juicy, and then I can simply hold that pressure. I can do a little scrubbing, just kind of moving around, and then I can also add some movement in there, taking that palm up and down. So again, we're just going to spend about a minute on each shoulder, so not too long. And then from here, I'm going to roll onto the lateral deltoid, onto the side, and get in here. Can do a little moving around, circular motion, can go up and down. I'm sure you're going to find something juicy. I've got something good here. Okay, I can just apply some pressure. Take a few deep breaths. You want to make sure that you're sending that signal to the brain that all is okay. I'm going to do a little bit of scrubbing back and forth. I've got a nice tender spot in there, nice and juicy. You're going to get some work done. And then from here, I'm going to just take it over to the other side to get the rear deltoid. So I'm just going to bring it under that shoulder. Okay, right behind. And then again, I can just add some downward pressure. I can always do a little pressing on it, extending that arm. I can do a little scrubbing or even a circular motion Just find something that feels kind of good to get on. Adding some pressure, it may radiate out some, or it also can start to let go. So if you feel like you've got a knot in there and you keep that pressure on, it may just kind of start to soften. Okay, so I'm going to add some circular motions, just going around. And I think that's about our minute on this side, and I'm just going to change to the other side. So I'm going to show you how to use the roller, doing the same thing. And this ball, same idea, it's just a little bit bigger. You're gonna be able to get in there pretty well. So using the roller, I'm gonna bring myself to the edge of the roller, and the same thing that I did with the ball, just getting the head of the shoulder on there, putting some pressure on. I can do some movements. I can lift and lower that arm. Make sure that I'm breathing nice and deep. I don't want to hold any air in. I want to send that signal to the brain that all is good. We're in a good place, good movement. And then from here, from that front, I'm going to rotate my body to the side. Okay, again, this can be done with either of the balls. So I can find some place here. I can move the roller up and down with the muscle fibers, go side to side, or a little bit of scrubbing in there. Now on this side, you can see I could add some movements, a little bit of internal rotation on that shoulder. Okay, I can find something right there and just maybe move back and forth, holding the pressure, taking some nice deep breaths. Try not to tighten up the other shoulder, try to keep it nice and relaxed. Okay, and then moving on to the rear deltoid with the roller here, coming around the back. Want to stay right near that shoulder. Okay, and again, I can add some movement. I can do a little bit of scrubbing in there. Can search around if you're not finding anything. Just kind of keep moving the roller around till you got something good. And the same here, you could be adding some movement, a little rotation, taking the arm up, pulling the elbow back. So don't be afraid to kind of explore in there. If you're finding some of these tight muscles, to kind of work through it. Okay, so there you have it with the strength training. Ciao. Okay, well, that was lots of fun. I hope that you got a lot out of it, so you can see how it's really important to have good posture, to have good form when you're doing the lifting, to make sure that you're actually targeting the muscle that you want to be targeting. Okay, you don't want to be compensating. You want to make sure that you're creating balances from the right side to the left side, all that good stuff. You want to make sure that your muscles are ready for the workout. You want to be focusing on that posture. You want to have a nice strong back that's going to allow the shoulders to do the shoulder work. So I hope you like this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned because I have a lot more to say about strength training and swimming and strength training and getting older, all that fun stuff. All right, ciao for now.